All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, today we're going to be looking at the social contract theory, what it is, what it means, and how two different philosophers came up with different ideas about it. They basically have the same thing, but one little major difference. And then we're going to look at the purpose of government. This is one of those things that people always ask, why do we have government? What's the purpose? We're going to talk about that today. Okay. So, so with the objective, we're going to analyze the different form. Oh, sorry. We're going to examine the significance between Hobbes and Locke's interpretation of the social contract theory. And then we're going to create an argument on which of the four necessities of government is the most important. I know it says state there, but that's my mistake. I forgot to change that. So here is your warm up picture. Now, if you notice, uh, there's a sign, kind of like a rule, and it says absolutely no machete juggling. Now, if you look at what the old man is saying to the lady, um, that really is going to help you out with this question because the question is asking you, what is this artist trying to say about people when it comes to rules and laws? You know, so look at what the rule says again, and look what the old man is saying. And then from there, what do you think he's trying to say about humans and our nature when it comes to rules and laws? Okay. So think about it, pause the video, write your response, because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right. So Thomas Hobbes, the guy in the top picture, he's the one who founded the social contract theory. Basically, it's this idea that everyone, you take away government, take away laws and stuff like that, everyone is born free. All right. We're all born free. We could do what we want anytime we want, stuff like that. Now, the thing is with that, let's say I have a nice cold glass of water. If you want that from me, you can, buy it from me, take it from me, beat me up and take it, or you can even kill me. Under the social contract theory, you have the right to that. But at the same time, people can do that same thing to you, beat you up, kill you, things like that, whatever it may be. Okay. Now, what he says is this: we make a non-verbal agreement to one another. I won't kill you if you don't kill me. I won't steal from you if you don't steal from me. Okay. And we trade those freedoms for security. That way, that's why we don't constantly look over our shoulder. Like when someone walks by us, we're not constantly like, oh God, they're going to do this. Oh God, they're going to do that. We're not paranoid like that because we have that mutual agreement. I'm not going to do it to you if you don't do that to me. Okay. You can just imagine how people would be all at Walmart, just looking over the shoulder, think, oh, someone's gonna get me, someone's gonna get me. I better get them before they get me. It's a very paranoid type of life. Now, the thing is, Hobbes says, let's say you give up a freedom for security. If the government doesn't hold their end of the deal, we don't have the right to get that right back. He's basically like, you gave it up. It means you didn't want it no more. So done. Okay. So one of the examples I give is like if you've ever gone to the airport. If you've done it lately, you know the routine. If you haven't, basically before you can even find where your plane is, the terminal, you have to go through security. You have to take off your shoes, your belt, everything from your pockets. You have to go through like three type of security scans, and like sometimes you want a pat down. Uh, and once you're cleared of all that, then you can try to find where your plane is at. You know, and the reason why we did this is because of September 11th. Um, Before, when I was younger, when I was your guys' age, you could literally just go and get your tickets, go to security, answer 3 questions. And one of the questions was, did you pack your own bags? And all the questions were yes or no answers. You didn't have to explain, just yes or no. That's it. And once you passed, you go to your terminal, go to your wherever your plane may be. And it took, honestly, really, no joke, less than 5 minutes per person. You just answer those questions once they said it, and then gone. Okay. Now, John Locke, the other guy on the bottom there, he said people were naturally endowed with the right to life, liberty, and property. Okay. And that when it comes to what Hobbes said, he believed the other way around. But if the government doesn't keep their end of the bargain, Locke says we should get that right back. Whereas Hobbes said, no, no, you gave up that right. You can't take it back. So, like going back to the airplane example, so let's say somehow, some way, uh, with the whole screening process and all that stuff, some terrorist finds a way to take a weapon on a plane, and all of a sudden they commit a horrible crime. Well, guess what? Locke would say, well, you know what? We should be allowed to go back to the old ways, those 3 questions and some of that, because this way, this system that the government created to give us security failed. So it was no different than the old ways. So we should go back to the old ways and have that right back so we could just get on the plane and go. Okay. Now, the purpose of government. Now, there are 4 purposes. I did not put them in any specific order, really. Um, so, yeah. The first one is to maintain social order. Okay, now what does that mean? Okay, well, I mean, you're 17, 18 years old. You know that you've seen it. People can't live without conflict. We cannot get along with one another without conflict. I gave the great example to one class where years ago the sun was in my eyes and I'm trying to see, and as you can see, I wear glasses. I didn't have my glasses at the time. They broke. They broke like 3, 4 days beforehand, and so I'm trying to see people, and my eyes are squinting. They're squinting like this, and again, the sun's in my eyes, so my eyes are squinting even more. This guy is yelling at me like, "What are you looking at, huh? You want to start something? You want to start something? Who are you talking to? I can barely see the guy." I'm like, I'm trying to look, trying to see, man. Like the sun's in my eyes, and I can't see. And he didn't want to hear it. He just, oh, you got beef with me? What? You want to start something? I'm this, I'm that, la 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 la. Whoop whoop! I don't give a care. I'm trying to find somebody, and I can't see. And then the sun is not helping. You know. So yeah, we can't get along. You know, we really can't get along. Um, Now, like I said in class, an individual person, if there was a beef or some of that, you probably could talk to that person, reconcile, find out what the issue may have been, and try to come to a peaceful conclusion. You can do that because that's what rational people do. But typically, when people are gathered up in a mob, people tend to forget rationale. People tend to lash out and things like that. You don't believe me? Look at a football game. When one team loses and the other team's there, all right, in the stands and some of that, and they leave, there's a fight going to happen. Same thing with like soccer. There's going to fight going to happen in the stands. Why? Because people, when they're in the crowd, they don't think anymore. They go by feelings, and a lot of times it's anger, especially if something is said or done, or someone hears that something was said or done. So that's why we have the government to make rules and laws to basically say this is what you can do and can't do. If you break that rule, this is the punishment. We're gonna have a court system that says whether you're innocent or guilty. They're gonna examine everything. So again, because we cannot live without conflict, we need some type of social order. That's where government comes in. Next one, provide public service. Now, there are some things that we as people, we truly need, but we won't voluntarily do it, um, or we can't do it. Usually when we can't do something, it's because we don't have the knowledge. Like filling up a pothole in the road. A lot of people don't know how to fill a pothole up. And you know what? That's okay. That's all right. You know, and there's certain things that need to get done, but we're like, no, I'm not going to do that. And like I said in class, how many people would voluntarily go into the sewer system and help scrape all the crud and stuff from the sewer walls? Nobody in all four classes raised their hand. I had a student say, well, how much are you going to pay me? I didn't say anything about pay. I said volunteer because that's something that needs to get done to make sure our sewer systems are clean and good, so that the waste can move through. And that's where government comes in. They know no one's going to volunteer to do that. So, you know what? We're going to collect taxes, we're going to get money, and we're going to pay somebody to do it. Somebody will do it if the price is right. Okay. Um, the other thing our government does is make sure that uh, all our food is good. The medicines we take is good. That's not going to hurt us or kill us. And if something does happen, to get word out to stop people from consuming or using that product. That's what like the FDA does, the Food and Drug Administration. So when you get something from a place, let's say a hamburger from some hamburger place, they might put on the news, hey, don't eat meat from this place because it's contaminated. They have E. coli, it's salmonella, it's this or that, because they don't want people to get sick, and they test this stuff to make sure. Okay. Now, another purpose for government is provide national security. Okay. They need to protect the citizens, both foreign and domestic. Now, I know some people think they're Rambo because they got a gun, things like that. Like, oh, I can do this and that, and I can shoot, la la la. Yeah, but you are just one person. You're not going to take on a whole country, you know? So that's why the government is around to build an army, and some of that to fight not just threats here inside America, but outside as well. Now, here's the thing. This is what I was telling the class too. Um, you have to remember, you have to be careful with this stuff too. People on TikTok tend to talk like they know everything. Okay, they tend to say stuff that, oh yes, the government's doing this and the government's doing that with this country and this country. Um, how do they know? Where do they get their information? Did they get it from a government website, things like that? Did they get it from a press briefing? I mean, where do they get the information? Chances are they're going off things they probably heard or they seen something on the news and they're just making their own conclusions instead of reporting what the facts are. Or they're coming up with their own conspiracy theories. The only ones who know our relation between the US and, let's say, the country of Zimbabwe is the government. We don't really know. For all we know, everything's hunky dory, but in reality, they probably hate us. Who knows? And that's where the government comes in. They can either decide, let's go to war with them, or hey, let's come to agreement, have a peace treaty, stuff like that. And the other thing is, let's say there was no government. We have an army, we have a navy, we have all this stuff, right? When has all of our citizens come to agreement about something? Anything? We never have. We never will. Okay? So to try to convince every American to say, look, we need to go to war with this place, we need to go to war with that place. No, it's not going to happen. And I know some students have said, oh, well, the United States went to war against the Nazis. Yeah, but even then, some people didn't think we should go to war with the Nazis, that we should go to war instead with Japan only because they attacked us during World War II, not Germany. Even though we know now in retrospect, because we know the outcome and everything that happened during World War II, we had this idea that, oh, everyone was against the Nazis, everyone in the United States. No, no, not everyone. And that's what I mean. Even in the most horrific time when we know when we should have gone against them, we weren't united. Not everyone was like, we should go to war with these guys. So that's why we have the government to make those decisions because they have the information that we don't. Now, speaking of that too, Making economic decisions. That's the other purpose of the government. The government has to wisely decide where and when and what to spend our money on. Okay. Now, you hear people again on the news, on TikTok, on whatever social media thing saying, we need to spend our money on this. We need to cut this and that. We need to do this and this with our money and our taxes, or even cut the taxes and some of that. It's like, well, how are we going to pay for things? It's funny to me that the people who a lot of times talk about we need to cut taxes and cut taxes, they're also the same people say we need to take care of our veterans. We need to do this for our, cops and some of that. Well, where do you think they get their money from? Taxes. So you cut the taxes, you're cutting their funding, you know? And then these are also the same people who complain and cry and whine about, oh, our debt is so big. Well, if we're going to take care of our veterans, pay our cops and things like that, and we're not getting tax money, guess how we're going to have to pay them? We're going to have to borrow more money. So that's what I mean, guys. You have to like take things logically. And that's where a lot of people in this country do not do. They don't think. They just go by, oh, this is what I feel. This is what I think. Mainly because of what their political parties say and things like that. And they don't really think 3 steps ahead. You know, they just, this is the way it should be. Okay, what are you going to do? Rub a magic lamp and it come true? No, we live in reality. Okay. So, again, there are people who truly believe also that the education system is a waste of money. There are some people who say, you know what, these kids and all they do is stay on their phones. They don't listen. All they care about is themselves and TikTok. They don't care about their future. So why spend billions and billions of dollars on, paying for the electric bill, paying for paper, pencils, uh, you know, paying teachers and some of that, paying for sports programs, why? It's a waste of money. Those kids are not going to do anything. So let's cut it. Save ourselves billions and billions of dollars. And that's the thing too. We can't all agree on what our money should go to. Someone's always going to lose. Again, whether it's fixing the roads, paying cops, firemen, teachers, um, giving money to help the poor, all that stuff. But we can't agree on it. And that's what the government's for. To basically say, okay, we got all this money, we should really divide it up like this. A large chunk for this group, small chunk for this one, smaller chunk for that one, and so on and so forth. Now, there are two major types of government systems. One is the unitary system, where all the power goes to a national or central government. And that's it. Okay. They control everything. They get all the money. They have the say so in everything. So let's say the federal government, or sorry, the national government gets all this tax money, and like this here in the state of California, we're like, hey, can we get some money for our students or education? They would then say yes or no. We can't say no, no. This is part of our bills and things like that. We get part of this money. That's not how it works. That under that system, the central government, the main government controls everything, and everything goes with how the way they say it, the way they want it. So the states, the cities, they don't really get to make decisions. It's a central government that does. Okay. Now, what we have in this country is a federal system where power is distributed between national, state, and province. Province means local level, so like cities, Fresno, Clovis, things like that. That's why you have a mayor of Fresno, a governor of California, a president or and Congress people in the national level. Okay. Now, this is where this system can be a little tricky, and you got to be careful, especially in the future. Because, like this, think about it like this: nationally, is marijuana legal? No, right? But in the state of California, it is if you're of age. Now, this is where things get kind of dicey. If you were to drive from California to a state where marijuana is illegal and you get pulled over and you get caught, you can't say, "Oh, I'm from California where it's legal." Well, that's great, but are you in California? No, you're not. You know, so yeah, you can get in trouble for that. And on top of that, they really want to throw the book at you. They could probably possibly charge you with smuggling. Now, some students try to say, "Well, I'm not selling it." Yes, they if they caught you selling it, then they could get you for that charge as well. But since you had it, they don't know if you're going to meet somebody to try to sell that stuff to. But the thing is, you brought it in from one place to another to their state. That is smuggling, you know. So yeah, you got to be careful. And then also too, because you cross state lines, that's now a federal charge. So that's what I mean. That's what this is why I told the class. You gotta be careful if you're gonna travel somewhere. You gotta know the law of that land wherever you're going to. Okay, be careful. And if you have any questions about this kind of stuff, come see me. Okay, and we'll have a discussion because this is vital information. This is everyday life stuff that will affect you. Okay. So that's the end of the notes. I know there's a part at the end that has like a question and some of that. Remember, that's the exit ticket. Since you were not in class during that time, you cannot fill out the exit ticket because that was the thing needed to get out of class. Okay. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. Okay. So with that being said, guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later.